What is going on with Kaulig? See, this was a fast-rising team basically only a couple years ago. It had a great start, all things considered, from the get-go in Xfinity, and basically 2-3 years ago, this team was in the same conversation as Trackhouse in 2311 for the new era of NASCAR teams. Now, though, well, it's nothing at all like that. You had, at one point, an elite Xfinity program, you had young drivers, a solid plan for the Cup Series, and now what you have is a team that almost feels stagnant, or at least is reaching its first big pothole in the road to prominence. In Cup, well, it's been a short stint so far. When you look at 2021, you had that one win with AJ Allmendinger, and it was pretty damn good. And it was select races, as was the 2022 season in some ways. In the 54 total starts between drivers, they had 6 top 5s and 12 top 10s. While not getting a win, it did seem like this team had something good to build on. But last year was a step back. Yeah, AJ got his win at the Roval. That in and of itself is not in any way a bad thing. But you had one less top 5 among the two drivers in basically 20 more starts, and you only had one more top 10 in that time. 20th and 21st in points, where were both of them finished, and when you look at how this team performed through the year, it was completely irrelevant when it came to the discussion of the playoffs. So far this year, in the 15 combined starts with the top-level drivers of the team, there's been 2 top 10, so not too bad, but at the moment, Daniel Hemrick is 29th in the point standings. Statistically, it's clear on the Cup side, this team is starting to fall off a little bit. Now, for the Xfinity side, it's a really interesting story. This team in 2016 and 17 with Blake Koch had 5 top 10s a year and finished 7th and 11th in points. Really good, all things considered. You got their first top 5 in 2018 and their first wins coming from AJ Allmendinger and Ross Chastain in 2019. And from there, 2020 through 2022, this team was averaging 5 or more wins every single year. You had 2 straight years of Final Four appearances, top 10 points finishes by 2 teams per year for 3 straight seasons, 3 of which in 2021. And it looked again like this could be the next JR Motorsports, an Xfinity Series program that, while maybe having aspirations to Cup in the future, definitely seemed to be among the elite in this lower rung. But last year was a bit of a step back. In 66 total starts by the main drivers, they had 1 win. Chandler Smith got it. Of course, AJ Allmendinger part-time got 2 wins, and Kyle Larson got a win. So the overall number of wins at 4 didn't go down all that much, but it's also known that part-timers and Cup drivers, it's just not sustainable for a team long-term. You got to have some full-time Xfinity guys in there doing really well. The number of top 5s these full-timers got also went down, top 10s the same way, and they finished 8th and 9th in the point standings. And then you got this year. So far in the 18 combined starts with their 3 drivers, you have 1 top 5 and 5 top 10s. Not bad. You got a guy sitting 6th in points, 13th, and 27th. We'll get to these guys a bit later. But it was clear the peak of this team overall was 2020 through 2022. Xfinity was rolling, Cup was building. It seemed like a perennial Xfinity title contender was being made and a solid future team for the Cup Series, especially with AJ Allmendinger coming up there and also Justin Haley. So what went wrong? That's the big question a lot of people are having now with this team. Well, I think there's 3 main different pillars, or at least points, to look at with this. First off was trying to expand too fast into Cup. This is the one many will point to, that they put too many resources that they didn't have, or they put too many resources they didn't need to in a Cup program, and it took away from the overall program. They spread themselves too thin. You had 2 teams in 2022 and 2023 And right after being just a part-time team for the most part in 21, it moved AJ Allmendinger up to Cup over Xfinity as well, which took away their best driver year in and year out from a situation that so far has been the best in his NASCAR career. Basically, you had a status quo of winning and rising, and you changed it on the chance that it would offer long-term high-end success in the Cup Series. And unfortunately, while this can work for other teams, it did not for Kaulig. It was a swing and a miss. The second big point to me is losing Justin Haley. Now, we're very early on when it comes to this, but I think it's very important because Justin Haley was their franchise driver of the future. He was primed for it. He's young, he's improving, and even being near the top 20 in points, basically in your first year in Cup with this team, at least set up as it is now, is not necessarily a bad thing. But he moved on to Rick Ware Racing. He is now their franchise driver, and while not having as much speed or success per se so far in the early runnings with this team, he has improved the team vastly, and he might be somebody who can build it up over time. And seeing how this took the team by surprise, it really, I think, hurt the culture of the team that for so often and so long they have promoted as a big part of why they succeed. When you take basically the heartbeat out of the team, it's going to be really difficult to replace. And the third one is some of the drivers and sponsors. Early on, Kaulig would go for young guys, prove-it deals, and sponsors that were pretty safe overall, like what they normally have had with Leaf Filter. But then you got, in 2022, Landon Castle with Voyager. Castle did not perform at all. He had his shot with a at least solid team. I won't even say elite team at that point, but a very solid team, and he completely fell flat. Then his sponsor, Voyager, would file for bankruptcy in July of 2022. And then you got 2024 so far. You have an okay start with the Xfinity side. SVG, with the Trackhouse deal and connection, has done pretty well. He got your only top 5 of the year, and he is probably going to improve a lot and might elevate that team. That might be a long-term investment, but at the moment, it's a mystery and unknown. And Josh Williams, who has not panned out at all. A lot of it's bad luck, but a lot of it's just poor speed. And again, just like Landon Castle 2 years ago, this is his prove-it deal. And if it doesn't work, well, then Kaulig might be in more issues than they were before. So looking forward, what exactly does Kaulig do, or what is their future? Well, Kaulig is stuck at the moment. I think that's probably the overarching theme of this video, is that Kaulig has done this and they've kind of been stuck in place trying to get past that glass ceiling they're currently at. Well, I think a good start is building back up from Xfinity up. If they try and make all these sweeping changes or make it Cup focused, well, this team is just going to rot from the core. This team started as an Xfinity team, at the moment is probably more recognized as an Xfinity Series team, and it needs to realize that and maybe build up a solid base and get another franchise guy. I think that with that, you might be able then to build up Cup long term. Maybe you have to downsize. That might be something, maybe selling a charter away. Or if Honda jumps in the next 2 or 3 years, well, then jump over to Honda when the time is right and maybe become a tier 1 team instead of a tier 2 or 3 team. That could be something. Kaulig is going to have to take swings. They were in a safe position and they probably could have kept rolling the high road up, but they tried taking chances. And that kind of aggression should be commended, but at the same time, it can bite you in the ass. And now they're forced to take bigger swings or get pay drivers, which will not help them probably long term unless they just stumble on into a generational talent. But what do you think? Should Kaulig do all these things? What should their plan be? Let me know down in the comments below. And while you're at it, leave a like in this video, share this video, and subscribe to this channel for more great NASCAR content. Thank you so much to all my channel members for your continued support. And until next time, have a good one.